Hello YouTube and fellow bag and luxury lovers. I just finished a project. I made a trio of things, I guess you can say, a bag for myself and a couple of SLGs, or small leather goods. I wanted to open this video up for a question for you all, just in case anyone's actually watching, but what is luxury? What is considered a luxury handbag or a luxury SLG? Does the name matter? Because I did Google this, and the answer came back that, luxury is primarily defined by whether the item is mass-produced or not. So, like the absolute top of the hierarchy luxury is Hermes, and Hermes is known for doing a lot of handcrafting, especially on their most sought-after bags, right? The Birkin, the Kelly. They're made by master craftsmen. And then we go down the line to Chanel, and then we keep going from there, right? So does homemade count as luxury? Like if I make my items out of the best materials I can find and it's completely handmade from ground up, does that count as luxury? Let me know in the comments below what you think. Anyway, just something I was thinking about the past couple days. So let's get back to this project that I just finished. Alright, I'm going to apologize for the lighting. I really don't have good lighting for making YouTube videos, so this is the best I can do, and I have a disaster on my table, so I'm using these poster boards to try to help with the lighting and kind of hide what's going on behind it. But over here I have my old mini duffel, which is my absolute favorite bag that I've made for myself. I've used it every single day for the past 3 years. This was made in 2019. And then I have here my new duffel, which I call a super mini duffel because, as you can see, it's a little bit smaller than my old one. So what I did was, this new super mini duffel is pretty much exactly the same design as the old mini duffel. I just shrank it down by a few inches. So this is 1 foot wide, and this one is about 9 inches and a little tiny bit of change wide. So let me go over this new bag with you. Alright, so I've unbuckled the shoulder strap here so that we can actually see the bag. This is going to be a bit awkward because these are flopping all over the place and kind of banging things around. I'll do the best that I can. So I had this turquoise leather, which I'll put the name of it below. And it's been sitting in my storage container for several years now. And it was a panel that was, I forget, it's a certain dimension. It was not like a side or a hide. It was just a panel. And so it wasn't long enough to make one continuous, to use it continuously as the main body of the bag. So I had to break it up, and I basically was using whatever I have available. So if you see here, there's another piece of leather here that goes all the way around the bottom. You see, like that, and then it goes to the other side, and then we have this, another seam here. So I basically took what I had and made the leather big enough to become the body. And as you can see, that I didn't have enough to make this side panel be the same color as everybody else, so I used what I had, and same thing with the other side. So let me show you the bottom of the bag real quick. So my original one had 2 of these because it was wide enough to handle that, but now I just have 1. And then I have my 2 cotton webbing shoulder straps. The cotton webbing is from Joann Fabric Store. And this cotton webbing handle is floating, meaning that it's not stitched or hard attached to the bag. You can move it around. And the reason why it's done like that is that in the future, if I ever needed to replace these straps, it's really easy. I can pretty much just cut it and pull the whole strap out and replace it with something new. These straps are cradling the bag, and it takes all the weight when I'm holding onto it like this. Here's the interior of the bag, and if you notice my label, there's 2 layers of leather here, where the outer stitching is what is holding the label to this flap itself. So on the other side, you would see the stitches, the back side of the stitches, so I covered it up with this patch of matching leather on the interior. The interior is lined with a goatskin leather, and I'll put the what brand and color and everything it is. Again, it was another one that I had lying around. I think I originally bought this turquoise color and the pink together with the intentions of making something with the 2, and I just never got around to it. So now this is what has happened to it. And you can see kind of along the interior that the 2 ends are also lined with this same leather. So the interior looks like this. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for you, but it is designed this way to keep the contents inside and secure. And in the case that I wanted to ever carry this bag as a backpack, up on its side, where this is against my back, these side flaps help hold things, my belongings and the contents in the bag. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up and show you what it looks like. So here's the interior of the bag fully opened up. So I do have my own liner that I put in here. I can take it out and show you what it looks like. Here's the liner, and it's fully removable from the bag. So, if this were to get dirty or wet or needed to be replaced or cleaned, you could just take it completely out of the bag. And so, it's really simple. We've got one big pocket on one side, two pockets on the other side. And I've learned over time with my other duffel and using it for that many years that one of these pockets does need some kind of secure closure. I like to hold my gym lock in this pocket, and because the lock is heavy, if I tilt the bag, bend over to pick something up, that lock just falls straight out of the pocket. So I did add a closure here. And you can see that this is stiff. So inside is a stiffener. It's basically an extremely high density cardboard that they use often for shoemaking and bag stiffeners in general. And the one in my other bag has been in there for 3 years as well, so it lasts for a really, really long time. And it also helps the bag keep its shape. I'm going to put this back inside the bag and show you. Actually, let me show you what the bag looks like without the liner. So you can see that this pink lining only goes so far, and then the bottom is unlined. And this just makes it so it's really easy to access that one protector strip on the bottom of the bag. Should it wear out or for any reason needed to be replaced, then it's really easy to remove the stitch and reattach a new one if it should be needed down the line. Although my old bag has shown no need of needing any kind of replacement. But you can see that the seam, or where the pink lining ends, when you have the liner inside the bag, you can't see the seam. So that's what it looks like. And the reason why I made this 9 inches wide, why didn't I make it smaller? Why didn't I make it larger? I wanted it to be able to fit a standard water bottle. So you can see this fits really nicely and kind of perfectly inside. That's how my bag looks when it's filled with my everyday stuff. This is all the things that I typically carry when I'm out and about. So you can see that the way that I made these pockets are completely custom for what I need. So on the left-hand side over here, you can see that I've got a protein bar and a pen in the big pocket. On the right-hand side, I have the 2 little pockets. One of them has chapstick and some wipes in it, which the chapstick is an absolute must. And then the other pocket with the snap closure has my gym lock in it. And then in the main compartment of the bag, I've got my little toiletries bag underneath everybody, my keys, some hand sanitizer underneath everything, that water bottle, which is extremely important because I live in the desert in Arizona, and I've got a wallet. So let me show you what it looks like when I typically wear it, because it's very, very rare that I have to open up this interior strap. Usually you keep it closed at all times, as it secures all the contents of my bag. And the opening that remains after this is snapped up is big enough to get things in and out. If I need to grab my wallet, no problem. And that brings me to my SLGs. So after I finished the bag, I still had some leftover material, and I thought, what would I do with it? So I made a wallet, and I made a keychain. So let's talk about these next. All right, let me see if I can make this work. Let's start with the keychain. This is a really simple little keychain, and this is to replace my old one, which is this one here. I had reused this trigger snap over here, I think that's what it's called. So I had cut off the loop off the old one to reuse the hardware. So that's a nice thing, if you buy one of these things, it's pretty much the hardware, it's gonna last forever. So this one here on the left, I made in, you can barely read it on here anymore, but it says 2014. So this leather strap is 8 years old. And, I've been using it every day since then, so it's 8 years old, and you can see, yeah, it's worn, patinaed for sure, but there's nothing about it that's falling apart. Even the snap has held up for all those years. But I just decided, why don't I make myself something new with the leather that I have left over? And the funny thing is that I ran out of this red cord, so I continued. I thought, okay, then I'll just continue with the turquoise cord, which is what I used on my bag. So here's my first SLG that I made myself. All right, now comes the wallet. This wallet was made based off of a design that I came up with 10 years ago. And it's kind of what got me started in the beginning. Let me show you that wallet. So here's my 10-year-old wallet. It is one of the first designs that I iterated through and came up with something that I really liked. And you can tell I've been using it as my daily carry for 10 years. And so I had removed the concho from the original wallet to use on the new one. It's pretty easy to remove because it's attached to the snap with a screw. So it's easy to replace if ever needed, but these pieces of hardware, they will last you forever. So let's take a look at my old wallet. So when I first started with all this, I was a big fan of the Japanese Red Moon wallet, but they were very expensive. They are all, I believe they're all handmade. So this is what kind of got me to go to Tandy Leather and give it a try. And so I had made a couple of iterations on the design because the original Red Moon wallets are extremely thick when they're empty. Like they have very many layers of leather to create all the pockets and stuff inside. So I made a major modification to that Red Moon design, is that I wanted to reduce the bulk of the wallet by itself. So my pockets are made out of one piece of leather and then like thin pieces of leather behind it, so that the bulk of the wallet will be made up of the contents of the wallet rather than the wallet itself. So I actually went through a couple of iterations of prototypes to come up with this final design, which I absolutely love. And it was made out of an economy leather from Tandy Leather. Believe it or not, it's using the exact same polyester thread, wax thread, that I used on my new wallet. I've had it for that long. And that's another reason why I wanted to use what I have left over that's been sitting around for so many years. But you can see that even with an economy piece of leather, you know, some basic thread, this is like pigskin, it's the cheap kind. It's lasted for 10 years with no problems, not one stitch undone, not one leather piece falling apart. You know, it's just really old, and I obviously didn't take great care of it. It's had coffee spilled on it, been in the rain, been set on, you know, a restaurant table where there was water condensation on the table. I've spilled ice cream on it, and this is what it looks like after 10 years of hard use. And inside of it, I had put the date June 4th, 2012. So here's my new one, and you can see if I don't think while I'm making things, this is what happens. Notice this is the opposite direction of this one. This is a right-handed wallet, so my right-hand thumb can easily open and close. I was not thinking, so now this is a left-handed wallet, but you know, that's fine. And I don't have enough material to make another one, so this is what I'm gonna have to live with, and that's fine. So let me show you what it looks like inside. So again, I only had enough of this turquoise leather left for the main body of the wallet. I didn't have enough for the interior, so I'm using I think like a European bend or something, a really, really high quality, nice leather. So this turquoise leather is from Rocky Mountain Leather Supplies, and this interior one is from Tandy Leather. And then this pink goatskin is from Rocky Mountain as well. So you can see the design on the interior is almost identical to the old one, maybe a little bit more refined with the rounded corners. I have my stamp here on the right, but otherwise the design is essentially exactly the same. And so this one is filled with all of my stuff in it, and you can see that the bulk of the wallet is due to the contents of my wallet, not of the wallet itself, and that was the entire point of the design. So it features on one side 3 pockets, so this one, and then behind the panel there's another pocket. This side, another 3 pockets, 2 card pockets, and then one that opens easily to slip cash or receipts or stuff behind. Exactly the same design as my old one. 3 pockets here on this side, 2 card pockets, and then a kind of a slip pocket on the right. Exactly the same. And this has worked very well for me for 10 years. I love this wallet design, and I have a little template that I made for myself so that I can repeat this if needed again. So the edge is all burnished, beveled, waxed, and buffed so that you can see how shiny these edges are. I love that. I'm getting better at it. This takes a little bit of, actually it takes a lot of patience. And I've finally learned how to sand this better to get all the edges to align. This definitely took time and some experience to get to this point, and I'm still not that good at it. You'll still see some uneven edges, but this is what I did. So these are the 2 SLGs that I made for myself. Speaking of edge burnishing, so I also beveled and burnished and waxed and buffed the edges of the duffel bag as well. It's kind of difficult. I actually used the Dremel to try to sand down these edges to make them as even as I could, but you can tell they're not that even. You can see that's kind of shiny also on these edges. That is my video on my new super mini duffel bag and my 2 SLGs. Got my wallet and my keychain. And you know, that question I started off with, does this count as luxury? Having made this at home by hand, it's one of a kind. It doesn't have a big name on it, so does it count? Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.